Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. If you're new here, my name is Matt. Today, I'm naming my top 10 bourbon whiskeys of 2022. I did a live stream a while back where I blind tasted 42 different whiskeys from 2022, and I used that tasting along with the original review or original tasting and then subsequent tastings after that blind flight to put this list together. There were a handful of whiskeys that I got to sample that would have made this list had I been able to buy a bottle of it or acquire a bottle of it somehow. But guess what? If I can't get a bottle of that whiskey, it's not going to make my list. Number 10 on my list wasn't as good as last year's version, but guess what? Remus Repeal Reserve Series number 6 was just good enough to make number 10 on my list of best bourbon whiskeys in 2022. Number 9 on my list I tasted early this year and thought it was tremendous. And guess what? It is. If you want to spend a night clubbing and drinking great bourbon, then buy this bottle of whiskey that could double as a club. It's Woodford Batch Proof 2022 118.4. This Woodford Batch Proof this year was so stinking good. I really enjoyed it, and I haven't heard a bad word about it. Everybody who's tasted it seemingly has really liked it. Woodford Batch Proof 2022, number 9 on my list. It's an expensive bit though, 150 bucks. Yikes. Number 8 on my list wasn't even gonna make the list, but guess what I did? I blind tasted it against number 9 and number 10 and what used to be number 10, and guess what? It beat all three. So number 8 on my list comes from a little distillery into the wilderness and on a trail. It's 8-year-old bottled and bond straight bourbon whiskey from Wilderness Trail, 100 proof. What a fantastic, enjoyable, delicious, unexpected, exceptional pour. If you haven't had the 8-year yet and you run across a bottle, pick one up and you will be like, what the is that? That is so stinking good. Hold up, we're on number 7. We're on what some people would consider to be lucky number 7. And coincidentally, number 7 spot belongs to Lucky 7 14-year The Hold Up. It's a 14-year-old Barton-sourced Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey coming in at 100 proof, and it is delightful. I really loved the 12-year, and then the 14-year came out, and I was like, I just want to scream and shout from a rooftop or from an infinity pool that I absolutely love this stuff. And you can tell by the fill level that I ain't lying. This 14-year hold up, she be supplying. Lots of happiness for my fat ass. Lucky 7 14-year The Hold Up coming in at number 7. Number 6 on my list is a barrel strength offering from a Kentucky distillery that normally produces barrel strength offerings better than this bottle that's number 6 on this list. A couple years ago, this distillery was pumping out some of the absolute best barrel strength bourbon you could buy. In 2022, their barrel strength offerings were still great, but they weren't what they used to be. In 2020, one of their batches earned my Bourbon of the Year. In 2022, it slipped into the 6th spot, baby. It's Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch A122. The C batch was also great this year. The B batch, either I got a bad bottle or it was a bad B-atch because I just did not like it. But the A122, coming in at 120.8 proof, was very good, and I liked it a lot. And I liked it enough for the number 6 spot. ECBP Batch A122, number 6 on my list. Coming in at number 5 is a whiskey that I was able to obtain or procure or protain for the first time ever in 2022. This bottle comes from the Heaven Hill Distillery, the same distillery that the number 6 bottle on this list came from. And not only does it come from Heaven Hill, but it also shares the namesake of the number 6 bottle. The difference is the age and the proof. Number 6 was Elijah Craig Barrel Proof 12-year. In number 5 is the Elijah Craig Not Barrel Proof 18-year. This oaky son of a gun made me smile so bad. A lot of people think that this is over oaked or not great, but guess what? You're wrong, according to me, because my tongue says it's very good. I absolutely love this. At 90 proof, is it underproofed a little bit? Possibly. But guess what? I absolutely love oak in my bourbon, and this 18-year Elijah Craig is no exception. I totally adore this 18-year Elijah Craig, and I think that I want some more of 18-year Elijah Craig. Number 4 on my list comes in a can. It was put there by a man in a distillery in Kentucky. And if I had my little way, I'd drink number 4 every day. It is Hardin's Creek, oh yeah. This is Hardin's Creek Jacob's Well. America. It is 15-year Jim Beam distillate, and it is 108 proof and absolutely tremendous. There's a little bit of a dusty note to it. It has a great mouthfeel, a great finish. Absolutely wonderful Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The presentation is great. It's got a chastity belt on it so that you can't enter it whenever you want unless you want to do the belt. And it is just a fantastic pour. When I tasted it blind, it blew my mind. After I bought a bottle, it got throttled a little bit. It's not as incredible as I thought, but it is still good enough to make number 4 on my list of best bourbons in 2022. This is the first year ever that I ever got my hands on this bottle. I walked into a store, it was marked up a little bit, and I was like, I will take that. The lady behind the counter was like, you want to spend that much money on a bottle of whiskey, you idiot? And I was like, lady, you don't know me. You back off and you shut your mouth. Except for I didn't say that because she's super sweet and adorable, and I love her. I like her. I didn't know what to expect when I purchased this bottle, but what I got was a pleasant surprise because it's number 3 on my list. It's Four Roses 2022 limited edition small batch. Coming in at a little over 109 proof, this limited edition small batch from Kentucky is great. It's a little more oak forward than I thought it would be, and it has a little bit of what I call a bird's nest on the palate. It tastes a little hay-like, but hey, I kind of like it. And by kinda, I mean I really like it. I know a lot of people out there will be like, hey, jerk off. I can't find that bottle anywhere, you fat idiot. And guess what? Until this year, neither could I. I just got lucky, and it made number 3 on my list. That brings us to our top 2, number uno and number dos. Uno, dos, that's right. Before we get to my 2022 Bourbon of the Year, we must first present the runner-up trophy to the runner-up. And after blind tasting, I am so confident in saying that this is the correct runner-up. This is the correct runner-up. Coming in second place, number 2 on my list for best bourbon of 2022 belongs to this limited edition 30th anniversary Knob Creek 18-year. It's 100 proof and 100% friggin' awesome. It's full-bodied with caramelized oak with hints of baking spices. And if that sounds like tasting notes, that's because I just read the tasting notes off the side of the bottle. If you like oak in your bourbon, then guess what? This bourbon is no joke. It's got a little bit of a dusty note to it. It's got a little bit of a funk to it. It's got some character, and it's got some kick. This 18-year Knob Creek was knocking on the door of first place, but guess what? First place didn't answer. So it's stuck on the other side of the door in the runner-up position. Knob Creek 18, the runner-up for 2022 Bourbon of the Year. That brings us to the number 1 spot. What earns the number 1 spot on my list? What is my 2022 Bourbon of the Year? No matter how hard I tried to dethrone it, no matter how hard I wanted it to not win, for no particular reason, it just didn't happen. I was sent this in blind flights. I tasted it blind against other things. From the first pour to the last pour I've had, I've absolutely loved it. It's a perfect balance of sweet-ass bourbon and perfect-ass oak. And this 16-year-old Barton distillate is no friggin' joke. This is my 2022 Bourbon of the Year. Congratulations to Calumet Farm for their 16-year-old offering. Calumet Farm 16 is my 2022 Bourbon of the Year. I just kept tasting it and kept tasting it and kept tasting it and kept tasting it, and every time I tasted it, I loved it. It's just so stinking good. It's cherry, it's oak, it's vanilla, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Will there be a 17-year-old Calumet Farm? Who knows? Probably not. This might be the end of the road for the Calumet Farm Age series, but if that's the case, then they went out with a bang. Because this Calumet Farm 16 is just my thing. I friggin' dig this stuff so hard. Calumet Farm 16 is my 2022 Bourbon of the Year. Will it be my Whiskey of the Year? Hard to say. You're gonna have to tune into the next video to find out if Calumet Farm 16 is my 2022 Whiskey of the Year as well. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Did you try Calumet 16 this year? And would you consider it your Bourbon of the Year? My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on just loving oak and bourbon and oaky bourbon, because oaky bourbon is just my jam. It's just my jam. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the subscribe button, and thank you for being a dime piece. I'm talking to all of you. You're all 10s. I'll see you in my next video, my top 10 whiskeys of 2022. What will be my Whiskey of the Year? Will it be Calumet 16?